Okay, let's go ahead and add success message notifications. So I've been skipping the success messages for all of these actions here, and we do want to provide this feedback to our users. So let's go ahead and add those. So usually I would make use of Tailwind UI, and they do have a notification section here, and you see them listed here. So this one looks nice with one message, but these are not free. So we'll just create our own so you can follow along. It's not too difficult. So let's start with that. So I'm going to go into my show blade and we'll just work in here for now. So we'll put it right here above the modals container. So it has to be fixed. Let's say bottom 0, right 0. So I want it to come in from the bottom right, maybe slide in, because if you look at the Laracast forum, it does have some success messages coming in from the bottom right. So let's try to stay consistent with that. So fixed bottom right, let's make it white. Let's make it rounded XL. Let's give it a shadow. Make it large. Let's give it a border, and let's give it some padding. PX6, PY5, and some margin. MX6 and MY8 is what I have. Okay. And let's just add something in here and see how it looks. So for now, let's just say idea was updated successfully. Okay. And let's see how this looks. Okay. So that looks pretty decent. Let's add a close button. So we have to make this a flex container and say justify between. Okay. And this will be the second flex item. So let's say give it a margin left. Sorry, not margin left. Actually, this is the first flex item, and we'll add the typography styles on this. So it's a font semi-bold, say text gray 500, and text base. I believe it's already this size, but we'll just be explicit here. Okay. Okay, so that's a little bigger. And the next flex item is the close button. So it's a button, and let's give this a color as well. So let's say text gray 400 and hover text gray 500. And let's grab the close icon from Heroicons here. So let's say close, and we'll grab this one here. Copy SVG, let's paste this in. Let's go ahead and re-indent that. Okay. And I usually like to get rid of this since we don't need it. And let's see how this looks. Okay, let's make it a bit longer. So I'm going to say max width small and give it a width full. See if that works. And it does. As you can see, it's behind this. So let's give it a Z index. I'll put it in the front here. Z20, say. Okay. And I also want a checkmark icon here to indicate that it's a success message. So sort of like what we see in this one here. So again, let's grab an icon from here. Let's say check. This one is good with a circle. Copy SVG. And we have to make this one a flex container. So let's say flex items center. So it's centered vertically. And now the text is going to be the second flex item. So we'll wrap this in a span and give it a margin left of 2. And then this one will be the icon. So let's paste that in. Again, let's get rid of this. And then let's make it green. So let's say text green here. Okay. See if that works. And that looks pretty good. Let's make sure it looks okay on mobile. So I'm going to open up DevTools here. And that's decent, but let's tweak it a bit. So I'm going to make it a bit smaller on mobile. So let's say max width extra small on mobile, and on small and above, it's that length. Okay. So this should be a bit smaller. I guess that doesn't make a difference at this width. Let's make the margin smaller. So small and above MX6, but on mobile MX2. Okay, so that pushes it over a bit. Let's make the text smaller on mobile. I'm actually going to move this typography stuff to the actual element with the text. So I'll put it here. And let's make the text smaller. So small and above, text base, but text small for mobile. See if that helps. Okay. And I think I'm okay with this. Not perfect, but it's okay for now. So let's just put this back. And it still looks fine on desktop. So now let's work on showing and hiding it. And for now, we'll just make a temporary button that does this, and then we'll hook it up to the actual actions in our app. So for example, these ones in the next video. So let's do that. So let me just look at one of the other components we have here. So the modal confirm. Let's just grab all of this and make this an Alpine component here. Okay. So it's this one here. Let's go ahead and reformat this and paste all of that stuff in. And for this one, we don't need to listen for this event. So let's get rid of it. And now this should be hidden because it's set to false here. And we have xShow is open. So let's see if it hides. Event to close modal. So this is the event we have to listen for. So let me just hard code something in here for now. So let's say Adia was updated is one of the events we have to listen for. So let's see if this works. Okay, and now it's hidden. So like I said, let's just make a temporary button in here that allows us to toggle the visibility of this notification. So I'm going to wrap this div in another div and put a button there. So let's wrap this in another div. Okay, and this will just have a button. Say toggle, and we'll put the actual Alpine component on the main div temporarily for now. So let's do that. Okay, and the toggle button should render somewhere on the page, and there it is. So again, this is just to toggle the notification. So now when we click on this, click, let's just toggle that. So is open, is not, is open. Okay, and let's see if it toggles it, and it does. Cool. So we've been making use of the transition helpers in Alpine, which are great. So for example, in here we have, where is it here? Transition opacity. So we can take a look at this on the xShow, or add this on the xShow for our new component. So let's do that. Where's xShow here? There it is. Let's just paste that in, make sure to add that dot. And now it should have a fade in and a fade out, okay? But like I said, I want it to slide in from the right. So these helpers only have support for opacity and scaling, but we want to do a translate from the right, like I said. So if you want to customize your transition, you can do that easily with Alpine and Tailwind. So let's look for transition here. Okay. And you have these set of classes, which are different states in the animation. And you can combine that with Tailwind classes to give it the effect that you want. So let's grab these. Let's get rid of this that we just added. Let's paste that in and let's see what we get here. So as you can see by the classes, we have a subtle scale from 90 to 100. And we have an opacity from 0 to 100. So we have a fade and a subtle scale. So let's see if that transitions, and it does. Cool. So you can control both the enter animation and the leave animation, which you can see here. So for example, if you want the leave transition to be much slower, you can specify that here. So let's set it to 2 seconds. I believe there's a class for that. And I guess not. It still happens quick. Let's try 1000. And there you go. The leave is much slower. So let's go ahead and try to make it slide in from the right. So let's put that back. And I still want to fade in, so we'll leave the opacity. But all we want to do to make it slide in is add the translate classes. So in this case, translate X because we want to slide in from the right. So we'll start here, translate it over 8 units, and then we'll end up here, translate X 0 when it's done. And the same for leaving. So we'll start here, and then we'll end at 8. And that should do it. Let's take a look. Toggle, hard refresh. Something's not working here. And I don't have this spelled right. Translate. Okay, try again. Hard refresh. Toggle. There we go. It's coming in from the right and leaving to the right. So I want to make the lead transition slightly faster so that we can change the duration here. On leave, let's change it to 150. Okay, so that should be a bit faster on leave. And it is cool. Let's take a look at how it looks on mobile. Okay, and it's toggle that button. And that looks pretty decent. Maybe lessen the padding on the left and right a bit. So I believe I have it as PX6. Maybe PX4 is okay. Let's toggle that, and that looks good to me. So yeah, I think that's good for now. In the next video, we'll hook it up to the actual actions in our application. Actually, I want to test one more thing here. Let's see how it looks when we open the modal. Oh yeah, so I think right now this has a higher Z index than the modal. So let's verify that. So the modal is here. Let's look for Z index here. And yeah, it does have a higher one. So I believe if we make it the same, then whatever gets defined latest should be on top. So in this case, they're both Z20. So here, Z20. But the modal gets defined later in this container. So that should be on top. So let's try that again. Let's toggle this and then open a modal, and now it's behind. And let's also make this a blade component while we're here. So let's grab this. Let's call it X notification success. Okay. And let's go ahead and add that in our components. Notification success.blade.php. Paste that in. And just make sure to indent this correctly. And this should still work. Toggle, and it does. Cool. Actually, I think I forgot to hook up the X button here. So let's do that. And I also want it to hide after a certain amount of time. So let's work on those. So first, I'm going to change this toggle to just open it. So isOpen is true. And then we'll do the same thing for close though. So where's that SVG? I believe it's this one here. So you can just paste that in, say false, and that should close it. So open, close, okay. And now let's make it hide after a certain amount of time. So I believe I did do this for the success message in adding an idea. So let's try that. And let's submit that. And you see this message here, but it's gonna be hidden after like 5 seconds or something. And there it is. So let's take a look at how I did that. Create idea. And here it is. We're just using a set timeout. And it's 5 seconds. So let's do that. So back to our component. In our toggle button, we can do it in there. So let me just reformat this. And in addition to opening the notification, we also want to add that set timeout. So let's add it after this statement. So set timeout is visible is false after 5 seconds. So let's see if that works. So let's go ahead and toggle this and see if it disappears after 5 seconds. And it doesn't. What did I do wrong here? So yeah, this is the wrong variable name, isOpen. Let's try that again. Refresh, toggle, let's wait 5 seconds, 4, 3, 2, 1, and it hides. So yeah, now I'm actually done. So now we can make a commit. Let's go ahead and git add. This is episode 46. Git commit episode 46. Let's say success, message, notification, CSS